Welcome all to the orientation session for our upcoming Python programming training. And I hope this session will give you a kind of perspective as to what the Python programming is all about, what kind of career options you would have through it, and how it can help you in your overall IT career path. So let's take a quick look at what Python is and how and why we got to go about learning and what we have done so far in IT Learn with it. So the best way for me that I felt that I should be able to show you is not just my own words, but what you see on the web. But I'm just going to quickly collate everything together for about 15-20 minutes, just do a quick walkthrough about it. And then we will come back to try and look at how how you can apply it for your own career opportunities and so on. So team, very simple. What I did is I did a Google search, Python programming, and it should help give you all the related links through it. Okay, so there is the Python homepage, and then there will be a lot of other content and tutorials that you'll find across. A lot of videos already there regarding Python and how to learn them and so on. Now, if you focus and try and go and start with the Python homepage team and look at the About Python, it will talk about what is Python and how does it really help the programmers. All right. So team, primarily Python is a very lean and easy to learn programming language. All right. When I say lean, it's the fact that it is got no major installations or implementations needed. It is almost out of the box like it is shown here, and you can quickly start working with any other integrated environment. For example, let's say you've used Eclipse, that you've worked with some Java programs, or you can also use some online editors where you can start writing these codes. So despite the fact that it is easy to learn and to get started to program with it is not a nightmare like a few other languages, it is still very powerful and very fast. And what that has done is it has made the overall IT industry embrace this tool, this particular programming language, in many of its aspects. So it is used at a very, very high range of clienteles. It is used for across different needs, building from simple applications to very high-end applications that are enterprise related and so on. Additionally, it is very important to know that it is open source. So once it's become open source, there are pros and cons to it. The advantages of being open source is there is no licensing fee. So anyone can start using Python and start making sure that you can start showing your services or selling your projects once you start building applications through Python. At the same time, it also means that there will be no dedicated support to help you with it. But however, there will be a large community of developers, and that will be able to guide you towards it. So this homepage on python.org talks about what the programming language is all about and so on. In fact, it is so simple that if I could start teaching Python very early in the career, I think this is one of the right programming languages because it's not got too much complexity like any other programming language. Yes, it's got a lot of extensions. It has got a lot of features that will help you to take it to become a very powerful language as well at the end. So it is simple. It is easy to learn. It is very easily installable implementation in terms of coding and IDE. It is also very fast and extremely powerful with its overall features. That makes it very popular team. And if you look at some of the things that are there in terms of the features, downloads, documentation, all that, we will come to it team in our day one. I will talk about how you install, how you go about it in the day one. But this is Python's homepage, python.org. And you will see a very simple representation of a function out here and how the code looks. So even from a green line editor or your command prompts, you'll be able to type and run these codes. That's how this application has started to come. The second thing that I want you to watch is the jobs section that is there with python.org itself. So if you go into jobs.python.org, you will get access to many positions across the globe that come up. but you may not find the relevant ones which is there in your specific location, since these are more represented at a global level. But to get more idea about jobs, the best one to do will be indeed.com to get a representation of the jobs trend. So out here, you should be able to look at the jobs trends by clicking on the trends out here at the bottom left. The trends will take you to how a specific technology or a specific skill set has shaped up in a given period of time. So in the last 10 years, how did HTML5 start? So HTML5 really started to get towards mid of Jan 2000, Jan of 2010, and then the last 5 years it's got phenomenal growth. It dipped for the last 2 years, and now it's picking up again. It's just the number of job positions that are coming up. What is the trend here? Now let's look at Python in the same fashion, and let's click on Find Trends. So we're using this Find Trends team more as an aspect to try and see the trend of such a programming language, not necessarily the jobs. Now look at the same thing in relative with something else. For example, PHP. Relative. Where is relative? How do I add more? PHP, comma, Python. There you go. So the one in blue is Python. The one in red, if you see, is overall PHP team. You can continue to add Java to just get a perspective, and you'll see how it is different. So the green one out here, if you see, is the trend for Java team, which is very surprising if you look at how popular Java has been. Python, yes, has been more popular because PHP has been popular because you also can do a lot on the web through it. But the most popular one, if you look at, is definitely Python among these three right now. So there's got a very strong opportunity, not only for software developers, but also for software test engineers, as tools like Selenium and so on can be easily done through Python instead of Java. And that's a good skill to have. Once you are aware of any one programming language team, the effort and the intent to learn another one will be pretty simpler. It will not be that hard of a decision making for you. So I spoke about what Python is at a high level, what kind of a job trends we have. You can also look at the job market for this tool, this programming language in your local area. Let's say we talk about Python. And I'm not sure if anyone from Bay Area in this session, but let's just look at San Francisco, California, and see what kind of jobs are there. So if you see, there are 441 positions in this team, and these are at different clients, different locations, and you'll see how long ago they were posted. So you can also put the relevant sort by date and see just in the previous couple of hours, there's so many positions which have come up. That tells you how many positions are there specifically for this kind of a technology. If you look at, there's also a senior QA engineer here with the Federal Reserve Bank, and if you click on it, they would probably say that scripting knowledge of Python is essential, as they're using automation tools with it. So if you are already in the software testing field team, it is a great plus. It is an extremely great plus to add. If you know Java, learning Python will be relatively easy, and you should be able to crack it very well. But having it on your profile, on your resume, and being able to go and talk confidently in interviews will really help. And that is what this seems to be referring to. If you go down, you'll see strong development experience with any of the following object-oriented programming languages. So Java, C#, VB.NET, Python, or C++. So any one is good, because then they can try and get you in with one of these tools, QTP, Selenium, or Cucumber. So that's the kind of job markets that are there. This is, of course, with QA, but you can look at simple Python developers also as independent job markets. Okay, so web developer 200K plus, Java developer, and while it's referring to many other things, there will be some mention of Python somewhere in the whole flow. So you can look at sort by relevance, and you can see specifically Python developer, engineer, and so on, all these positions. Just look at your area team. So for example, if I look at my area in Los Angeles, when I talk about find tech jobs, may not be so many positions as you saw in San Francisco, because a lot of startup community team has embraced Python more than the more seasoned ones. So you will see smaller organizations, younger developers going more towards the route of Python than the existing larger organizations. Okay, that is the reason you'll see more of these coming up in areas like Silicon Valley, where we have startups budding every time. So that is something you will have to do at your end, team. From my experience, I will tell you this. I have learned Python very recently, but since I've been into the IT world and development world for a very long time, uh, I knew it was not going to be a nightmare for me to learn, but I had to make sure that to be able to train people on it and to build skills on it, I have to really go deep. And I went deep into the programming language and I started seeing how to present it to the audience. And what I've come to see is the fact that it is a lot of fun to program with. It is so easy that you will feel nice to work with Python. You'll feel excited, and it will really push you to come back tomorrow and start working again. So it's very inspirational tool. It's self-motivating, and that is the reason I believe it has clicked very well with this younger generation and younger population, specifically building this startups in this generation, in this world. Now, team, give me one quick second, please. All right. So what have we done about Python so far at IT Learn, and what's our next plan? So if you look at our online training courses and just scroll down a little, you'll find the computer programming with Python link. So click on it and visit this link. It will show you the existing tutorials that we have already done. So I have tried to divide them into small bits and pieces rather than go in a very extensive manner. You will find the simple first tutorial out here on the home page. You can watch it. It's a free video. You will get a good overview on how the simple programmings on Python work. Then you can click on the computer programming with Python training videos. And in here, you will find the complete tutorials. So right from how and what to install, the first ones giving the information on how you start with computer programming, the if statements, one mini project, function basics, lists, and I'm continuing to add more tutorials. And what I've seen in between is people have been requesting for a live training itself, and I thought that what is there here is a good start. I can take the next tutorials from here into the next stage by walking through these. So do definitely watch these videos if you can, and you should be able to get a good idea of the basics of programming with Python. Yes, it is not accessible for everyone. It is just existing right now for the premium members of Python, but we will get into day one, day two. We'll try and repeat some of the basic concepts, and then you should be able to in a good position to see if this is the area for you to go and explore. So it's a lot of fun. It's a very easy programming language, and I believe there's got a lot of career potentials. If you're someone who's in core development and planning to switch to something which is got more job opportunities and not so much competition as you see in other areas, then Python is a good option. It may not be the best option because still there is a lot of demand for the other tools. But you've seen the job trends and how the curve has gone higher for Python in the last 5 years. If you're someone in the QA field, you will notice that Python is being used more and more towards the scripting part of automation tools like Selenium and so on. And a lot of companies have started to do it. The way automation testing and the development work team is very simple. When you see a company which is already working on, let's say, C# or .NET or on Java or on Python, they would want their testing team also, if possible, to work in the same technology for their automation. Why? Because very easy for them to find the developers who can assist the automation engineers or QA engineers to build this automation suite and automation scripts. That is the reason it tends to lean towards that side. So that's it from my side. Overall, team, from an orientation, I just wanted to give you a quick roundabout. And if you spend a little bit more time on the URL that I'm showing, you will get to know more about some of the basic concepts. And it'll be pretty interesting for you to watch those free tutorials. I'm now ready to take any questions. Please use the chat to start putting them. And I'll be happy to answer them. I'll also put the link in the meanwhile in the chat so you can copy and start using it. All right, team, so open for questions. Please use your question and answer section to put them so I'll be able to take it up and address it for everyone. I've got a couple of questions right now, waiting for more questions to come in. So, Mark Penton, your question: how does someone get a beginner's Python position without having practical job experience? Good question, and it's like the chicken and egg story in a lot of cases. The road, in terms of my point of view, as to how the whole things will shape, is very simple, team. You first, yes, have to go through a training. The training does not have to be a structured training like we do at IT Learn. You can always pick up a book or look at other sources or some free tutorials also. Get your initial knowledge in. The second is definitely your hands on practice. And the way I try and do is through a project based approach. So if you see this page that I'm currently showing, it will talk about some mini projects in between. And these projects give you a very good idea into how you go about implementing it. So these are the first two steps, team. First is try and get the basic knowledge through any source. Second is get your hands on experience by practicing on things like projects and mini assignments. That will give you some confidence. Third will be try and get into some kind of a project work. It could be a live project that we do, or any kind of a trying to work as even as an intern to start with in your early days of your career. Alternately, what we do is you can always apply saying that you're a beginner in programming with Python and look for the beginner level jobs. There are always positions open at a beginner level across the globe. It is not that it's not. The only reason that we find it tougher is because of the competition. So one position and there are 100 people applying. But if we ask for someone who's got 7, 8 years in Python experience, then you will see that there'll be not so many people in that zone. For one position, there'll be probably 10 people will apply, and then your skill will come into play from there. When will the class begin and how long is this course going to be? So I will mention this during the day one, day two, but typically we're looking at about 3 weeks overall training. We're looking at about 15 hours of live training sessions. That would be sufficient for us to get started in the fundamentals of Python programming language and all the critical features of it. We will be starting this team hopefully in the coming 2 or 3 weeks. We initially have a plan for starting it next week, but we may kind of push it by a week or two to make sure that we get the sufficient crowd to be able to start a new live batch. So this orientation is trying to get you prepped up to it, and the fact that there are already some videos and content created, you should be able to look at it. And one more thing, team, typically people keep asking this, and the question is, how tough or easy is it to learn Python or any programming language for that matter? My answer is very simple, team. The first programming language is always not going to be easy. It is, for example, riding your first car. Your first car will always take a little time. But then once you drive one car, switching to a bigger car, a different car, is not going to be such a tough thing. So if you already have some kind of an exposure to any programming language, it is easier for you. If not, you'll have to work a little harder. But how is it then possible? If you've noticed and observed my tutorials, I go with an assumption that the viewers and the audience have absolutely no knowledge in this area, and that is why they've come to the training, and I take it in a very, very gradual manner. And it should be easy for you to digest. It should also be interesting for you to understand the concepts and retain it. And once you start practicing it, you should be able to get a good confidence built up through it. All right. Unable to open the above link. Okay, looks like you've got it now. What's the use of Python except Selenium and tutorials? Are we going advanced level? So looks like there are 2-3 questions mixed in it. What's the use of Python? Are we going advanced level? So I am not integrating Python with Selenium in this course. I'm just focusing on Python as a standalone programming language. But then it is easy for us then to integrate it with any kind of other tools which use Python as their backend programming. Second, are we going advanced level? So we're going to a certain level, yes. There's advanced level may not be the first live training that I'll do, but as I keep doing more trainings on Python, then we will be getting advanced into it. But I believe it will be at enough depth, and it will start with enough features and functionalities of Python to start coding, to start applying for the jobs in that area. I'm system network administrator and would like to automate day-to-day work. Does your training help me? So Hema Chand, for that, what will happen is if you have a lot of activity that you do repeated in your day-to-day activities, automation tools will definitely help you. There's no question. The automation tools that we've been teaching at IT Learn have been more towards automation testing. That's been the intent. However, I personally use a lot of QTP and Selenium scripts to do many more things that we do on a daily basis. So instead of having to do some manual work of going to a website, collecting some information or data, or processing it, or creating some registrations for people who want to attend the trainings and so on, we've kind of do that integration using some automation scripts. So it has helped me immensely. Today, I'm glad that not only do I use automation tools for training purpose to teach new people into it, but I also use it for our own official and personal use. It helps us when we have repeated steps, manual steps that we could automate and let them run. Yes, so it should be able to, but for that, what you should do is just go watch some free Selenium videos that I have on the website and try and get some expertise generated from there, from the Selenium training videos, and see if that's enough for you, for your requirement. All right, team, once again, Python is not an automation tool. It is not an automation tool. It is a programming language. It is a very powerful, simple, easy to learn, and a lean programming language. You can use Python with any other automation tool to be able to do that automation better. For example, Selenium does it very well. QTP does it only with VBScript. So you have a great option with Selenium and many more tools that use Python as a backend. So that way you could do it in that. In mini project, what are we going to cover? So primarily, typically, if you see these mini projects is something that I've done as videos only. I've not done this as live. So I've recorded them offline, I've kept them. So if you go to the first mini project, you will see that whatever I have shown in the first two chapters, for example, in these concepts here, we talked about if statement and for loop, and we talked about variables and how we define different types of variables and different types of statements. Now we combine them all together, the first two chapters, and try and learn them in chapter 3 using a mini project. So it will give you a great summarization of all that we have learned so far. And the project is taken in such a way that you can easily also put it on your resume as part of your training projects and say that I have done this as part of a training program overall. Right. So I don't have any more questions, team, from the audience. If you have more questions, I'm glad to take it right now. Can we access all the videos? Yes, with the Python programming, once you subscribe for the live training, you'll also get access to the video tutorials along with it. So here is some historical facts of Python as a programming language and where it started, how it started, what is the latest release, and how is it learned to be popular, and so on. All right. So you should definitely look into some of these. It's a good read. Just scan through of how it has come into being and what kind of a crowd is using it. All right, team. Looks like we are done with the question. A couple of last questions, and then we can wind up. Yeah. So Hemachand, I've already answered your question. That question. How good is it to automate web applications compared to QTP? It's very good, team, because QTP you cannot use Python, but once you have a strong automation tool like Selenium, you can do everything that you do with Java, you can do with Python as well. And it has tend to be much more faster, easier to learn, simpler to code, and easier to maintain. And it is well suited for automation. That's why it's one of the top preferred ones as part of Selenium's integrated backend programming. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and your presence. I really appreciate it. We will communicate to you over the email as to the next steps, when the day one, day two would be, and you can take it forward from there for how you want to look at it. But there's a lot of free content on the web. What we do at IT Learn specifically is try and structure it into a way that you will master it, you will build a lot of confidence, you will get great hands-on exposure, and that will create a strong feel for how your career can get shaped up accordingly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care and bye for now. Have a good day. Bye.